name is Joanna Paglia.
And I'm Paulina Tarini, and we want to share with you our understanding of the COASE theorem. Ronald Coase is an economist that developed ideas about externalities, transaction costs, and the purpose of firms in society. He won a Nobel Prize for his work, The Nature of the Firm and the Problem of Social Cost. And today we're gonna expose his main ideas on the COASE theorem.
To understand this theorem, first we need to know a little bit more about property rights. We can start by asking ourselves what can be considered property. Only when things are relatively scarce, property comes to existence.
Here are some key terms you need to know. Property rights. They could be defined as the exclusive ability to use, control, benefit, and transfer these things. Another important term that we need to know is externalities. An externality is a positive or negative effect that affects a third party that is not involved in the action that is causing the effect. For example, being bothered by someone smoking in a public place, river contamination, or smoke produced by factories affecting all the surrounding neighborhood and its people. And finally, transaction costs. These are costs that are incurred when making an economic exchange. These costs don't have to be monetary. They could be like time, effort, distribution, or transport. So now that we define property rights, transaction costs, and externalities, now we're going to talk about the problem of costs.
The problem with externalities is that the cost of internalizing or absorbing the effect is too high to make it worthwhile. Nobody wants to be responsible for the externality, so most of the time to eliminate the externality, another party has to force this internalization based on the limitation of property rights and liabilities. The problem which we face in dealing with actions which have harmful effects is not simply one of restraining those responsible for them.
In the problem of social cost, Coase describes how the problem of externalities and harmful effects can be solved without taking into account the initial allocation of property rights. This means that who owns what and who has the right to the good is not relevant to achieve an optimal solution.
What has to be decided is whether the gain from preventing the harm is greater than the loss which would be suffered elsewhere as a result for stopping the action which produces the harm.
He believes that if trade of the externality is possible and that there are no transaction costs, then bargaining will lead to the efficient solution of the externality problem.
The economic problem in all cases of harmful effects is how to maximize the value of production. According to his approach, the person that is obtaining the higher economic gains from the externality has an incentive to come up with an efficient solution. This solution will be the cheapest way to internalize and bring the effects to bear on one of the interacting parties causing the externality. This is achieved by analyzing costs and benefits of all the parties that are being affected by the externality. Poorly defined property rights and high transaction costs can prevent cohesion bargaining.
In China's Fujian province, pollution from a mine owned by one of China's top gold producers has caused major contamination in a local river and reservoir. The mine is owned by the Hong Kong-listed Zijing Mining Company. A leak from the mine's waste pond into the Ding River and Mianhua Tang Reservoir was first detected on July 3rd. According to state-run Xinhua News, the leak has killed 4.2 million pounds of fish. The state media have not yet reported what impact the pollution has had on the local drinking water. Water contamination is a growing problem in China as the push for economic growth outpaces environmental regulation.
This is a common example of a situation in which an optimal solution through bargaining is rarely reached, because one of the interacting parties, in this case the gold mine, refuses to cooperate, and the trading of the externality is very difficult to achieve because of the thousands of people involved.
The rearrangement of rights will only be undertaken when the increase in value of production after the arrangement is greater than the cost which would be involved in bringing it about. But in this case, the effects are so severe that the mind doesn't want to be responsible for them. COASE proposes that if factors of production, even the ones that produce negative effects, are thought of as rights and the total effect is considered, even complicated problems like these can be solved and an optimal solution can be obtained.
So we hope this video helped you have a better understanding of the COASE theorem.